Hello, everyone. Your friendly neighborhood Pelly here with another guide in our Combat Basics series, Combat Basics Part 2. Today, we're diving into the tactics you'll need to crush your enemies in PvP. Of course, I'm talking about blocking and kiting. As with Combat Basics Part 1, I will be using a level 15 Merchant's Guild to demonstrate techniques. Please bear with me as I am still new to making instructional gaming videos. Today we will be learning about some basic offense techniques for PvP. We will be learning blocking and kiting, some basic tactics to help you win on offense. To be an effective PvP fighter, you will need to combine the lessons from Combat Basics Part 1 and this lesson, Combat Basics Part 2. Not all PvP is about attacking if you cannot defend well. So, let's get started. As you can see here, Goliath has cleared the NPCs from this city and is moving to occupy the middle ground to simulate them pushing into another player's base. As he progresses, you will notice he is leaving single battalions or units in certain openings in the walls. This is called blocking. Here's where things get interesting. By leaving behind a blocker, you're not just buying time, you're setting yourself up for a powerful kite. But remember, it's all about strategic placement. If your blocker is too strong, it might stall for longer than you need, but if it's weak, you risk losing it too soon. Pick wisely. When we leave a blocker, we must take a few things into account. The first thing we should consider is the health of a given unit. If it is going to die soon, there is still a use for it. Also, try to prioritize using units in a slot with no champion or an unassigned unit. We want to try to use our units with a champion or assigned units to finish pushing into the enemy base, as they are stronger. The reason we leave units behind to block is for two reasons. The first, it can temporarily hold a defending army back so that your main army can keep pushing forward. The second and main reason is to set yourself up to kite the enemy. Now, kiting is where the magic happens. You're pulling the enemy in, leading them on a merry chase, all while your main army keeps pushing forward. But timing is everything. If you wait too long, your blockers might get overwhelmed. Start your kite at just the right moment, and you'll pull the enemy forces away from your main army, leaving them vulnerable. Kiting is the strategic retreating of one single battalion or unit so that the defending army follows it out of the base you are attacking. One of the biggest things we need to keep in mind is stall the enemy while continuing to push through their base. By combining these techniques, we can potentially hold off a defending army by only using two units from one single army that you control. In our first example, we will see Goliath attacking a base, setting his blockers, and then I will attack. As my troops approach, keep a few things in mind. Number one, the power difference of attacking armies versus the power of defending armies, the power of the players on the field in general, as well as their level. Number two, the type of troops in a particular blocking unit versus the troops of the defending army, i.e., swords beat axe, cavalry beats swords, etc. Number three, once the defending troops reach the blocker, how fast are they dealing damage? Not only can a blocker be used to kite, if they are strong enough, they may be able to stall even longer before you kite by fighting it out a little. This effectively stalls the enemy even longer. As we can see here, my defending army is attacking Goliath's blocker. As the blocker loses health, Goliath will retreat the unit, effectively kiting my defenders back to the spawn point of the blocker. Once Goliath's blocker despawns, my defending troops will go back into the base. The key concept here is manipulating the combat system to our advantage by working within its limits. As you can see, my troops are now fighting Goliath's second blocker, which he will then use to kite my defending army back out to the spawn zone. He has now stalled my armies even more, while continuing to move deeper into the enemy's base. Use your imaginations. Once my army reaches the spawn zone, it will come back again. This time, Goliath will do what is called a combat kite. As opposed to using a blocker in a set position, he will have to judge the speed of my units versus the speed of his units and retreat at the right moment. The distance the combat kite troops need to cover before they meet my defenders is crucial. They have to start moving after the advance button is pressed, as well as the ground they have to cover before meeting my troops. In this example, Goliath started his kite too early, causing the defenders to proc on his main army. When this happens, the kiting unit will have been used for nothing. If the kiting unit is too late, the defending army will prioritize the larger force, and the kite will have been for nothing. So another term we will be using a lot is proc. You can Google the official definition. For now, what we are referring to as proc is the concept that an army will focus on the largest group of troops versus the distance any other troops are, or the proc range. Also, each different unit type has a different proc range, but you cannot see it. It is not the attack circle you see when you click an individual unit. This is something that everyone will have to practice to learn. Thankfully, this guide will at least show you how to practice. Now, Goliath will perform another combat kite, making sure he starts at the right time to stop the defenders from proccing on his army. This is where the practice comes in. As his kite unit gets farther from the main army, it will meet up with mine and kite them back to the spawn. Ideally, you would use the unit with the lowest health. Unlike blockers, combat kites have a better chance of surviving the defending army as they will be on the move when they meet. So, using these tactics, you can begin to mount a more successful attack. You can practice using guilds like the level 15 Merchants Guild, as it is very similar to a weaker player base with the single gate and the spiraling inner gate system. Or you can simply attack alliance mates or enemies if you prefer to practice attacking and defending. Now that you've got the basics of blocking and kiting, you're one step closer to becoming a PvP master. But this is just the beginning. Next time, we'll cover more advanced tactics that will help you dominate the battlefield. This concludes part 2 of my new video series, Combat Basics. I hope everyone learned some useful information, and please be on the lookout for Combat Basics part 3. Until next time, happy fighting!